That was actually that chapter that you're speaking of specifically was the most difficult chapter I had to write.
Well, how difficult was it for you to relive some of those traumatic events? Because it seems like your life is just one traumatic event after another. I mean, multiple miscarriages with your wife and just all sorts of things happening to you. How difficult was that to sit down and write it?
Yeah, that was actually that chapter that you're speaking of specifically was the most difficult chapter I had to write. And that's also one of the longest chapters I had to
Right.
write in time. So dealing with that, it was to the point where I was being triggered so deeply and so often that I would only be able to write even a couple words down, and my PTSD triggers were going off the charts, and I had to walk away from it for several weeks, even a couple months at a time, before I was even able to think about coming back and start writing again. Because many authors or many wannabe authors that think, oh, I've been through some trauma, and I ought to write my life story, and I could do an autobiography and everything else. But what they don't realize, and what I didn't realize before writing all of it, was that when you do choose to do that, you relive those traumas every
Hmm.
single time you go to write.
Sure.
Every single time you have to relive and re-experience it over and over and over again in order to be able to share it and write it down with the world as you're intending. So that's one warning, if you will, that I give to anybody that thinks that they can write their autobiography about traumatic events and stuff like that, is that you will have to go through those traumas every single time you go to sit down to write, and be prepared for that. Have a plan of action ahead of time, that when it triggers, because it will trigger, that when it does, in advance, you have a plan of action to work around that, to deal with that, to overcome that, and then to come back and continue writing.